Sheridan, Spurgeon, Tapia, Palaka, Violette, Walker, Watley. I believe there was a proxy for Senator Walker, Senator Cumby. With the quorum being present, is there a motion to approve the Journal of December 3rd, 2025 as found online? Is there a second? Without objection, so ordered. We are now in line for general orders of the Senate, beginning with reports from Senate leadership. Speaker Pro Tempore Violette, you are recognized.
Hey y'all, hope you all had an amazing winter break. Rules met Sunday at 5:30. We went over 13 pieces. We need new delegation chairs, so if you're interested, please reach out to me. Update on Faculty Senate. I have a class with the Faculty Senator, Dr. Barbara Anderson. Right now, we're figuring out communication between ourselves and the Faculty Senate, and that's been just awesome being able to work with her along the way. And I just want to do like 3 little congratulations real quick. Congrats on Senator Lousby for becoming the VP of TAD. That's awesome. Congratulations, Senator Davis, on being a finance scholar. That's awesome. And congratulations on our clerk, Maggie, on being a legislative page. That's awesome. And with that, I yield the question.
The Speaker Pro Tempore yields his time to questions. Are there any questions? Seeing none, thank you. We will now hear a report from the Academics Committee. Chairperson Koviak, you are recognized.
Good evening. We met on Monday, to go over the 2 pieces of legislation that we had been given. So far, with SBL 117-149, it was found unfavorable. The main reason for this is just because of some of the general academic regulations that could become a little bit weird with the piece. However, we do know that there is some interest in it, so we are working with the sponsoring senator to see what we can do to get it, cognizant of those issues that could be present. And then SBL 117-150 was found favorable. And then for going forward, we have decided to be meeting at 6 p.m. on Mondays, just continuing on, as that's the most convenient time for every member in the committee. With that being said, I yield my time to questions.
The chairperson yields their time to questions. Are there any questions? Seeing none, thank you. We will now hear a report from the Finance Committee. Are there any representatives present? Seeing none, we have a finance bill that will be motioned off the calendar. We will now hear a report from the Health and Safety Committee. Chairwoman Cumby, you are recognized.
Hi, everyone. We met last year after the last Senate session. We had no legislation, but currently I'm working with the President's Branch in RHA to have self-vending machines like over campus. So I'm really excited for that to hit the floor eventually. Still researching impounding bikes, and then also getting like sunscreen dispensers on campus, and then also figuring out the medical product distribution logistics for the semester. And then after Senate today, we'll be meeting to talk about our meeting time going forward. So if anyone's interested, y'all should join. I yield the questions.
The chairwoman yields her time to questions. Are there any questions? Seeing none. We will now hear a report from the Judiciary Committee. Chairwoman D'Appolito, you are recognized.
Hey guys, Judiciary, I haven't answered you guys back because my phone is broken due to the whole Verizon thing, and I can't get into GroupMe on my computer because I'm not getting any text from anything that's not Apple. But we are changing our meeting time. No longer can be Friday at 12:30. I'm going to try to find a way to reach out to all of you very soon, and I hope my phone works again. I yield my time to questions.
The chairwoman yields her time to questions. Are there any questions? Seeing none, thank you. We will now hear a report from the Liberties and Representation Committee. Are there any representatives present? Seeing none. We will now hear a report from the Powers and Responsibilities Committee. Are there any representatives present? Seeing none. We will now hear a report from the Student Life Committee. Are there any representatives present? Seeing none. Oh, sorry. Chairman Spurgeon, I forgot. And then like a
We met in the LSC on Monday at our normal time, reviewed one piece of legislation to recognize the homecoming king and queen. Found it unanimously favorable, and I yield my time to questions.
The chairman yields his time to questions. Are there any questions? Seeing none, thank you. We will now hear a report from the Sustainability Committee. Chairwoman Gopel, you are recognized.
Hi everyone, happy Wednesday. I hope the first 3 days of classes went good. We have not met this week because we didn't have any legislation to go over. And then a little bit update about our meeting time. I unfortunately have lab at Mondays at 5:30, so we are switching to Tuesday at 5:30. It will still be online, so if that works for you, you can motion to join. But that's all I have. I yield my time to questions.
The chairwoman yields her time to questions. Are there any questions? Seeing none, thank you. We are now in line for a report from the Elections Commission. This is a new thing per the code, so they will now give a report every single week for the rest of the semester because we're kind of gearing up for Elections Commission. So, you're recognized.
All right. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Tristan. I'm the Elections Commissioner. So just a couple different things. First of all, we have a tentative seat reapportionment. Just a slight change based off of population stuff. So as it goes now, again, still tentatively, it's about to come through, but this is just how the math goes based on the codes. McCausland Arts and Sciences is going to have 12. Darla Moore School of Business is going to have 8. College of Engineering and Computing has 5. Hospitality, Retail, Sports Management has 3. College of Pharmacy has 4. College of Education has 2. The CIC, College of Information and Communications has 3. College of Nursing has 3. The School of Law has 2. The College of Social Work has 2. Really what you need to know is that, again, tentatively, but soon to probably be confirmed, is that Pharmacy and HRSM are probably going to lose a seat. Then McCausland Arts and Sciences and College of Engineering and Computing will add a seat, and everything else will probably stay the same. On top of that, I will send something to GroupMe. We're looking to fill some discretionary positions, so apply or get someone who can just to join us on Elections Commission. Then I'm going to kind of announce our elections timeline. Very exciting. So January 26th, 7 p.m. at Russell House 322, we have our elections interest meeting. February 9th and 10th from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. in the Leadership Service Center, we're going to have candidate filing. February 12th, 7 p.m. in the Russell House Theater, we're going to have the officials candidate meeting. So if you are a candidate, you have to be there. February 19th, 6 p.m. in the Russell House Ballroom, we have the executive candidates debate. Then the actual election is going to be February 24th and 25th. The votes are online. Then for tabling, so the 24th, 25th is a Tuesday and Wednesday. So that Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Monday before. If that makes sense. If a runoff is needed, March 3rd and 4th are going to be the runoff elections. Again, online vote. Then on March 19th, 5:30 p.m. in Rutledge, will be the inauguration at the president's with the president. Or at the inauguration with reception at the president's house. Sorry about that. So for filing opens 4 weeks before spring break, which is February 9th. I'm sure y'all probably know this, but you must be in good academic standing, have no open conduct cases, and submit campaign staff lists. For filing fees, it's $35 for an executive position, $5 for Senate, or 100 signatures, which is 100 signatures for executive or 25 for Senate. Executive candidates may also run for Senate, but only hold office if they both win. Or maybe only hold one office if they win both, which is exciting. For the voting, like y'all probably know, voting's online. We'll have physical polling locations, one on Green Street. But let me know any ideas. We're trying to put them in different spots. I'm thinking maybe Darla, but that's all up in the air. But we're hoping to have a couple of actual physical voting locations while the election happens. So if y'all have any ideas, any recommendations, and where else we can put them, please let me know. All students will receive an official election email on day one. And the ballot order will be randomized. Other than that, that's kind of all I have for y'all. If y'all have any questions regarding elections, you can always contact me, or you can go and email SAEC, which is South I think it's Elections Commission email. So it's SAEC@mailbox@su.edu. But other than that, that's all I have. You have any questions? Yes. Excuse me?
Yes, I was gonna provide a point in a second. We just passed that bill recently, but yeah, you cannot run for a Senate position and an executive position.
Yes. Sorry, that was, this is from, I'm reading off of the most recent codes. What else?
Any other questions? Seeing none, thank you.
Great, thank you.
All right, we are now in line for a report from the Constitutional Council. Are there any representatives present? There are not. To be clear, Elijah is still our Chief Justice. He's just abroad this semester, so you guys aren't going to get to see his wonderful face anymore. But he's still like updating the codes, doing his job. You can email him if you have any questions. Probably who will be coming, most likely will be an Associate Justice named Tristan, but he's just not here this week. So seeing none, we will now hear a report from Freshman Council. Are there any representatives present? Seeing none. All right. Hi, guys. Recognizing myself, I just have a few things. I hope you guys all had a good winter break. Nothing too big. I sent out in the group me, but I am putting up 4 nominations for committee chairs, so you guys will vote on them during the special orders, but that's going to be Jacob Sheridan for Student Life, Lena Luzri for Powers and Responsibilities, Gracie Sams for Liberties and Representations, and then Tommy Spurgeon for Finance Committee. Once again, you guys approved them during the special orders period. I know that Daniel mentioned this, but we have open spots for delegation chairpersons, so if you're interested in doing that, make sure to let him know. Also, I would recommend taking a look at the delegation spreadsheet because so many people left just for studying abroad or they're graduating or whatever reason. So it's possible you may have been in a delegation that didn't exactly line up with the major that you actually are at USC, and now there could be a spot open. So you do have the option to just motion yourself into a different delegation if you feel so fit. So definitely I would recommend looking at that. Our senators that were on the wait list, they are going to come to Senate next week just to give them a week to kind of get back in the group of things since school only started 2 days ago, but they will all come back. We only have 1 applicant to vacant Senate seats, but now we have so many vacant Senate seats, so make sure you're telling people to apply. The form is open on Garnet Gate. If you're having any issues with that, just text me. We ordered the clickers for Senate, so that's super exciting. I don't really have a timeline on like when they're going to be here. Most likely that's probably not going to be a thing in my term, which is really sad. But we may do like a test run for the last Senate to get everything set up for the 118th student Senate. But we did get those ordered. For the reapportionment, I just want to reiterate what Tristan said. That all comes from the code. So it's not like we're taking seats from delegations just because we feel like it or giving other delegation seats because we feel like it. There's like a mathematical equation that is literally written out in our codes that has to do with the number of students that are registered in majors in that college. So that's where that comes from. I'm meeting with the codes committee on Friday, and we are going to go over the codes edits that Dr. Goodman and Dr. Arndt sent us. They finished with all of them. I think the plan is tentatively we're going to be able to go through each chapter one by one and then just see how it's going to fit in best. And then it's kind of passed along to you guys to see whether or not you want to adopt those changes or not. I will say the chapter that we're going to look at first is going to be the elections codes. The reason for this is because in the codes it says that you can't pass anything about elections after February 1st and have it apply to the upcoming election cycle. So anything that we would want to apply to like this upcoming election cycle would need to be passed before. If you are interested in running for speaker, please come reach out to me, and I would love to give you like just a run through of what a week or a day in my life looks like. Obviously, I cannot offer you any campaign advice, and Student Senate is a campaign-free zone. But if you're interested in learning more about what it looks like to be speaker, what the work is like, the commitment, the sacrifices, things like that, I'd be more than happy to explain that to you. And then probably the biggest one is officially starting like this week or starting this Senate session, we have moved from Google Drive to OneDrive. So no more Google Drive. I'm going to give you guys like a basic tour right now. If you're having trouble finding things, just text me and I'll like send you direct links. But the most basic stuff would be if you're on like your computer, if you want to follow along, you totally can. And I'm sorry if I don't use the correct terminology because at the end of the day, I'm a nerd. If you go into your Teams app or like Teams on your browser, you should be able to open up something that looks like this. And then you could either click on Teams and then just click on the one that says Student Government, or you could go in like the file that says OneDrive and then click on the thing that says Student Government. I'm sorry, this is very confusing. Basically, the biggest folders that you need to know is the one that says Senate and the one that says General. The one that says General is going to have like the codes and the Constitution in it. And like the codes and Constitution that are right now on the Google Drive are not up to date because we're not using Google Drive anymore. So if you want to look at the codes, this is what you need to be looking at. This is the copy of the codes that was updated by Elijah literally yesterday. And it's right in here. And you're able to just open it back up. I will send some links in the group me so you can like access them pretty quickly. And then in the Senate folder, it's going to look the same as just our folder on Google Drive, except now it's in OneDrive. So everything's still organized the same. All of the legislation's in here. But like, for example, today, I think there's pieces that are going to be introduced off the floor. Like, you're not going to find those pieces in Google Drive. They're going to be in the OneDrive, so definitely be looking there. The one thing that is still being updated is our legislation tracker. Everybody needs to shout out our director of outreach, Matt, because he is like one by one downloading and copying and pasting links in there. And then also a huge shout out to my chief of staff, Addison, because she literally individually downloaded all 160 pieces of legislation and drag and drop them into OneDrive. So thank you, Addison. This would not be disorganized without you. And thank you to Jessica and Graham for moving everything over here. If you have any questions about where to find things, just let me know. But other than that, I think that is all that I have. I will yield my time to questions. Sorry, that was a lot. Seeing none, thank you. We will now hear a report from the student body treasurer. Treasurer Ashley Reynolds, you are recognized.
Awesome. Happy Wednesday. Hope everyone's had a great first week back. Obviously, I'm not in business professional. The equestrian team decided to move our practice to 3:30 on Wednesdays. So I'll probably be looking at like this for the rest of the semester, so I apologize. But like just some recap on winter break. SOFAB, the other board that funds things here for other undergraduate students, is out of money. So we're now the only funding body for undergraduate student organizations. So we're expecting an influx in requests to come through. We have about 84,000 left that we have not passed through Senate. There's about 37 sitting in my request submission form right now. But of the tickets that have been submitted for reimbursement, awaiting assignment, we have 3. Of those 3, 2 are overdue, which means we're waiting on students. Things that are assigned, we have 1, and of that 1, it's overdue. Of the ones that have been sitting in the student info needed, we have 5, and we're still waiting on all 5 to hear back from students. We have 4 submitted, waiting on all 4, and we've closed 2 in the past week. We're in the official review period for the partial funding that was created over the summer, so if you have any suggestions about that, reach out to me. I had 2 comptrollers go abroad, so next week you will see the memos for the resignations. And you'll also probably be seeing 2 new comptrollers come through Senate and then go to Finance Committee. I also submitted the internal budget for fiscal year 25-26 already. So I will let you know if we get any updates on what was approved, what was denied, etc. I already have 4 planned treasurers workshops for the next 2 months, so that will be interesting and fun. And then also I've been working with some senators on an ad hoc committee for the treasurer's role. This role has not been reevaluated since we brought it back after it was removed. So I think it would just be interesting to look at what's in the codes versus what actually gets done, and hopefully pass some legislation on that. So if you're interested or know anybody that would be interested in doing that, let me know. And then to echo what Maura said, elections coming up. If you or anybody that you know is interested in being treasurer or doing anything in the treasurer's branch, please let me know. I'd be happy to walk you through a day in the life, day in a week. But just let me know. Other than that, I yield my time to questions.
The treasurer yields her time to questions. Are there any questions? Seeing none, thank you. We will now hear a report from the student body vice president. Vice President Jordan Richardson, you are recognized.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Happy spring semester. A few things today. Yesterday, I had a luncheon with the Center of Health and Wellbeing. There was a bunch of administration there, and we had some pretty good discussions about mental health, and their processes, what's in the future for them. We came up with a great idea for maybe the next orientation, having a mental health focused session for new students. So when new students come in, they can have mental health resources laid out for them, so they have all the information there. So just wanting to get the word out about mental health resources. January 20th to the 23rd, we're doing a civility week, collaborating with the President's Branch. Cabinet Jordan Cooper, he is working with us, getting that worked out. We're also in the process of planning a beautiful week for early February, late January. And then we're also doing a Carolina Disability event probably in early February as well. SG on the Street is in the process for late January, early February again. It's going to be with librarians, and we're going to be passing out 7 brew. And then Courtney will probably touch on this with more, but we're in the process of planning a SC exchange. So all of our counterparts in across South Carolina will be coming here with us in a big conference, which is super exciting. I just put up signage graphics across campus. So if any students want to complain, there's a QR code, and they can complain and we can help out. SU quarterships will be out soon. If you haven't liked the message, like it now, please. And I will be sending that link out soon, so I know it's very popular and so many other quarterships. So exciting. Other than that, piggybacking off more, and actually, if y'all have any questions about being vice president, I'm your guy. So let me know. Get coffee, lunch, whatever. But yeah, I yield my time to questions.
The vice president yields his time to questions. Are there any questions? Seeing none, thank you. We'll now hear a report from the student body president. President Courtney Cox, you're recognized.
Hey everyone, happy start to semester 2 to all my seniors. I hope you had a great last first day. I know I did. Was not sad at all. I was actually really sad. Anyways, so I have to go back in time a little bit to December. I had my presentation to the Board of Trustees on December 16th. I presented on Russell House expansion and an increase to the student activity fee or the campus activity fee. I have done extensive research on this. I've calculated the square footage per student for every single union in the SEC. I had a survey that reached over 1,600 students where they gave me feedback as to where their fee or where they would like their fee spent. Based off of the numbers that I've kind of gotten, especially with the SEC data, we are behind the average by about 60,000 square feet. So we're incredibly behind, but if you had any questions about that presentation, I'm happy to give it to you. I'm happy to explain it, walk you through it. But the really good thing that came out of this is a lot of follow-up conversations and a lot of follow-up that the Board of Trustees would like regarding what the feasibility of building a new Russell House here, or building a new Russell House is. I am going to say, like, I was very pro keeping it here. When you're looking at location and where students are going to go, this is the center of campus, and we need to keep it here. So that is really what I've been pushing for.
Kind of as to what Jordan was saying, we have an SC exchange coming up on January 31st. This has been such a fun thing to plan. We have 6 schools confirmed that are coming. So excited to kind of network with them, learn from them. And there are going to be a lot of opportunities for people to volunteer and engage with the conference. We really want to make sure that other schools don't feel super intimidated because they are only able to bring 5 people and then we had 80. So we are limiting the amount of people in South Carolina that will be attending the event, but there will be other ways to really engage and help with the work that we're doing. Next up, Carolina Day is February 17th. I've been going since my freshman year, and it's such a unique opportunity, especially for our in-state students, but also for our out-of-state students, to engage with your legislator, thank them for all the work that they're doing regarding higher education. But there is a lot of work that needs to be done prior to that with y'all's help. So next Tuesday, we're going to be having a letter writing event in the LSC from 7 to 9 p.m. I would really prefer if everybody wrote 2 to 3 letters. We do have 300. Every legislator gets 2, and we have a lot of them. So we have created an entire form that is designated what school is going to take what legislator, depending on where the districting lies. So our system schools are getting involved and they will be writing letters, but we do have specific ones marked off for Columbia. I would say the majority are for Columbia. But with that, we have letter writing templates as well for students that are on state lottery scholarships, in-state students and out-of-state students. We really want to stay consistent with that. We don't want to put anything crazy in there. Just know I will be personally reading every single one of them before we close them up. So I'm going to know what we write. So please keep that very professional. And I'll have snacks. I'm bringing snacks. So if you would like food, I will have food. Next, my staff planned this really cool cross-branch collaboration event, but I want to preface that this is primarily to impact the next term and not necessarily this term, but it's a come and complain event, and we would really love if Senate would come and represent their college, and then Cabinet would represent their department. So we would kind of cover a range of issues. So if students have concerns about their college itself or have things they want to talk about within their college, they can come to a senator who represents them. And if they have any questions about sustainability, health and well-being, safety and transportation, then they can go to the secretary. So just covering a range of issues. We are really hoping for first week of March, right before spring break, and then my secretaries are going to put all of the information that they have in their transition docs for the next people, and I think it would go pretty much the same for y'all as well. Academics is currently looking into third-party sites. I had gotten a call regarding some affordability issues with these third-party sites. So if you're in an econ class and you have to use Top Hat, you pay $250 to use it. But the 2 things we're focusing on are affordability and consistency, just making sure that the things taught in these third-party sites mirror what is being taught in the classroom. Next, thanks to actually Myron and Anaya, student government is going to have a table at Hip Hop Wednesday for the semester. And we are going to be doing a donation drive for the Gamecock Community Shop. And if people donate, they will be entered into an opportunity to win a Valentine's dinner for 2. So we're going to keep it on theme. We have not picked said restaurant yet, and we are going to, but I'm excited for that. Next, philanthropy is doing stuff with Dance Marathon. That's March 20th, so please come sign up. If you're already on a team for Dance Marathon, absolutely no worries, but if you're not on a team, I would love for y'all to join ours. And then Hoops Week will be from February 2nd to the 8th. So if anybody here is interested in working with athletics or helping plan an event for athletics, reach out to Sam Feldman. I'm sure he would absolutely appreciate the help. And same goes for what has been said by every other exec. If you are interested for running for president, or if you have any other questions about what it's like working in all 3 branches, or Ashley, 3 out of the 4 branches, or being an exec twice, I will be brutally honest with you. You just have to let me know if you want to hear the good or the good and the bad. But happy to answer any questions that you guys have. And with that, I yield my time to questions.
The student body president yields her time to questions. Are there any questions? Seeing none, thank you. All right, we are now in line for special orders of the Senate. Are there any letters, petitions, appointments, applications, or other? The clerk will now read. A communication from the Office of the Speaker of the Student Senate regarding the resignation of Zoe Hopkins, Lauren Anderson, Jack Matthews, Caleb Dorsey, Chance Kirby, Emma Aloco, Elizabeth Cassettis, Grant Dorsnowski, Sebastian Lemery, Taylor Silkert, Taylor Manmoran, Cole Von Cannon, Marshall Pickford from the position of student senator. Received. Senator Hunter. Granted. Continuing on with the special orders of the Senate, are there any letters, petitions, appointments, applications, or other the clerk will now read? A communication from the Office of the Speaker of the Student Senate regarding the removal of Tommy Spurgeon from the position of Student Life Chairman. Received. Senator Walker-Lucia. Granted. Continuing on with the special orders of the Senate, are there any letters, petitions, appointments, applications, or other the clerk will now read? A communication from the Office of the Speaker of the Student Senate regarding the appointment of committee chair. Tommy Spurgeon, Finance. Lena Lusby, Powers and Responsibilities. Grayson Sams, Liberties and Representations. Jacob Sheridan, Student Life. The question is of the approval of committee chairs en bloc. All those in favor say aye. All opposed. The ayes have it. The nominees are confirmed. Congratulations, guys. New chairs. Woo. Continuing on with the special orders of the Senate, are there any letters, petitions, appointments, applications, or other the clerk will now read? A communication from the Office of the Speaker of the Student Senate regarding the application of Michaela Torres to the position of student senator. The applicant is referred to the Powers and Responsibilities Committee. Continuing on with the special orders of the Senate, are there any letters, petitions, appointments, applications, or other the clerk will now read? Seeing no more special orders of the Senate, we are now in the motion period. Are there any motions on the floor at this time? Senator Fry. There's been a motion to remove Senator Fry from the Sustainability Committee. Is there a second? Without objection, so ordered. Speaker Pro Tempore Violet. There's been a motion to table SBL 117, 162, and 163 indefinitely. Is there a second? All those in favor say aye. All opposed. The ayes have it. The pieces are tabled indefinitely. Senator Fry. There's been a motion to add Senator Fry to the Powers and Responsibilities Committee. Is there a second? Without objection, so ordered. Speaker Pro Tempore Violet. Senator Fry. There's been a motion to add Senator Fry to the Judiciary Committee. Is there a second? Without objection, so ordered. Chairman Spurgeon. There's been a motion to add a recommendation to the first reading calendar. Is there a second? All those in favor say aye. All opposed. The ayes have it. The piece is added to the first reading calendar and granted the legislative number of 164. Speaker Pro Tempore Violet. There's been a motion to add a bill to the first reading calendar. Is there a second? All those in favor say aye. All opposed. The ayes have it. And the piece is added to the first reading calendar and granted the legislative number of 165. Senator Primus. There's been a motion to remove Senator Primus from the Student Life Committee. Is there a second? Without objection, so ordered. Chairwoman Lucy. There's been a motion to remove the chairwoman from the Health and Safety Committee. Is there a second? Without objection, so ordered. Senator Walker-Lucia. Right. There's been a motion to move Senator Walker-Lucia from the delegation of Hospitality, Retail, and Sport Management to the College of Engineering and Computing. No, that's right. No, he doesn't. He can just move from one to the next. Is there a second? All those in favor say aye. All opposed. The ayes have it. The senator is moved to the College of Engineering and Computing. If you're moving delegations, put your stuff down now, just because I'm going to open up a spreadsheet when we do all of that. Thank you. Any motions that are not that? Senator Lusry. There's been a motion to add Senator Lusry to the Academics Committee. Is there a second? Without objection, so ordered. Senator Primus. There's been a motion to add Senator Primus to the Health and Safety Committee. Is there a second? Without objection, so ordered. Chairperson Koviak. There's been a motion to remove Chairperson Kubiak from the Student Life Committee. Is there a second? Without objection, so ordered. Senator Iftikhar. There's been a motion to remove Senator Iftikhar from the Liberties and Representation Committee. Is there a second? Without objection, so ordered. Liberties is now under quorum, so someone will have to join. Senator Sams. There's been a motion to remove Senator Sams from the Judiciary Committee. Is there a second? Without objection, so ordered. Senator Cumby. There's been a motion to add the senator to the Liberties and Representations Committee. Is there a second? Without objection, so ordered. Senator Iftikhar. There's been a motion to remove Senator Iftikhar from the Powers and Responsibilities Committee. Is there a second? Without objection, so ordered. Speaker Pro Tempore Violette. There's been a motion to add the Speaker Pro Tempore to the Liberties and Representation Committee. Is there a second? Without objection, so ordered. Before we do okay, if you have a motion pertaining to delegations, Senator Benegas. There's a motion to remove Senator Benegas from the Arnold School of Public Health and refer him to the College of Arts and Sciences delegation. Is there a second? All those in favor say aye. All opposed. The ayes have it. The senator is referred. Senator Tapia. There's been a motion to remove Senator Tapia from the College of Hospitality, Retail, and Sport Management and refer her to the College of Arts and Sciences delegation. Is there a second? All those in favor say aye. All opposed. The ayes have it. The senator is moved. Senator Jacobson. Next turn. Yeah. The reapportionment gets referred to the Powers and Responsibilities Committee, and then they pass it as a bill. Senator Loudry. There's been a motion to move the senator from the College of Pharmacy to the Darla Moore School of Business delegation. Is there a second? All those in favor say aye. All opposed. The ayes have it. The senator is moved. Any other motions on the floor? Senator Ryan. There's been a motion to remove Senator Ryan from the Carolina Life delegation and refer him to the College of Arts and Sciences delegation. Is there a second? All those in favor say aye. All opposed. The ayes have it. The senator is referred. Any other motions on the floor? Senator Lewis. There's been a motion to recommit SBL 117-149 to the Academics Committee. Is there a second? All those in favor say aye. All opposed. The ayes have it. The bill is recommitted and removed from the second reading calendar. Any other motions on the floor? Seeing no more further motions, is there a motion to dispense of this motion period? Is there a second? Without objection, so ordered. I'm going to open up the grouping page so you guys can join that. I will send the group needs later. We are now on the call of the introduction of new legislation. The clerk will now read.
SBL 117-152, sponsored by Speaker Pro Tempore Violette, the bill to add the delegation steering and summer advisory committees to the Student Senate Rules of Procedure.
The Speaker Pro Tempore is recognized.
Here it is. So this is something that exists in our Constitution, specifically on delegation steering, but it's not actually defined. This just gives it a definition, and it adds summer advisory to the rules of procedure. The reason this is not in the codes is because of the big rework that's happening with the codes. But once that's finished, this will be added. Good? Okay. With that, I yield my time to questions.
The Speaker Pro Tempore yields his time to questions. Are there any questions? Seeing none, this legislation is now referred to the Rules Committee. Continuing on with the call of the new legislation, the clerk will now read.
SBL 117-153, sponsored by Senator Lewis, a bill to amend the student government constitution for the election of the Speaker of the Student Senate by
Senator Lewis, you are recognized. This is your piece to move the election of Speaker of the Student Senate to the Student Senate itself.
Yeah, okay, so
Chairwoman Diappolito. Okay, let's continue on with the legislation, and then we'll get back to that during the period of open discussion about the fact. Thank you. Senator Lewis, you can go.
okay, so basically this constitution amendment is about the Speaker of the Senate election being by the senators. Right now, it is elected through a position like executive officers, like the president and the treasurer and the vice president. That's how it's currently elected. This amendment does not change what the speaker position does. It's focusing more on how the speaker position is elected. This model that I am proposing follows our federal government model and our state government model when it comes to the Speaker of the House. You know, generally the Speaker of the House is not voted by general members, you know, that's not in Senate. They're typically voted by members in Senate, not outside of the Senate. I think that this bill at all is just not weakening the Speaker's authority at all, but what it does is it allows the Speaker to be a member of the Senate, participate in Senate, and also be the Speaker of the Senate, just like the federal government. The federal government is you run as a U.S. representative, and then all the U.S. representatives elect a Speaker of the House. Same with the South Carolina state government. This bill does keep the Speaker's duties intact, so the Speaker, whoever the Speaker would be, will provide their same duties as outlined in the Constitution and the codes. But what does change about this is the structure of it, not the function of the job. So I believe it's going to bring practicality and more function to the job, is because there's been a question come up many times is putting the Speaker of the Senate on committees and things like that. But we can't do that right now because the current Speaker of the Senate position is not a senator. So, you know, and that question came up again when we had another bill amendment about that as well. So I think that if, 50 senators get together, can elect somebody from our peer to be the Speaker of the Senate, I don't think that'd be a problem. I don't even see that being an issue when it comes to some people saying, well, the student body elect the Speaker of the Senate. But this gives the Speaker of the Senate a more leveraged hand when it comes to the Senate. And I think it reinforces, and it also reinforces our independence as a student Senate. We are a student Senate. We are the legislative body of student government. There's three branches. You have the executive branch, the legislative branch, and the judiciary branch. We are the legislative branch. And so, again, reinforcing our independence and what we're functioning to do is, I think, is very important for student government moving forward with the new changes coming forward. And with that, I give my time for questions.
The senator yields his time to questions. Are there any questions? Speaker Pro Tempore Vila.
I wouldn't think so. Again, I wouldn't say that because they would be a member of the Senate.
Chairperson Kovia.
Yeah, I totally understand that question, and that is a honest opinion to have. But what I would say on that is that for the senator that does sign up to be the Speaker of the Senate, that is a responsibility they're taking on. Just like you take on a committee position or you take on to be Speaker Pro Tem, you're signing up for the extra responsibilities. And so I think that we can't really say, how are we going to juggle this? I think that the person has to do a personal evaluation when it comes to taking leadership roles.
Any other questions? Senator Primus.
No, I never said that. The position right now is an executive position defined under our Constitution right now, and it's elected by all the students. But what I'm proposing is to be elected by just Senate members, like the same way we elect the Speaker Pro Tem.
Senator Venegas.
Oh, so yeah, that's a good question. So currently to run for the Speaker of the Senate now is that you have to have so many credit hours. Under this amendment, obviously they have to qualify to be a senator, but I didn't put any qualifications on there. Again, it would be voted by the senator. So, if the senators got together and said they want that person, they would not vote for them. I can tell you that now.
Senator Salatka.
I can't really answer that. What this is focusing on is a constitution amendment, but we can get into the codes and all of that. The codes will talk about all those, because if this amendment passes us and is voted on by the students, we're going to have to do some rewrite some of the codes as well.
Any other questions? Senator George.
Again, that's another good question, but this one focused on the actual the election process in our Constitution. If this was to go fully approved by the students, we would have to do several codes changes to operate. So our Constitution is a vogue document, and our codes is our operating rules that we follow by. So you can't make your Constitution so narrow where like that's what the codes are designed. That would be a codes thing if we got to that point.
Any other questions? Seeing none, this legislation is now referred to the Judiciary Committee. Continuing on with the call of the new legislation, the clerk will now read.
SBL 117-154, sponsored by Chairperson Doppolito, a bill to clarify campaign activity and resource use.
Chairwoman Doppolito, you're recognized.
Hey guys, this bill is to clearly state that student government members may be on a campaign only in their personal capacities. However, they can't use their official student government capacities and resources for any campaign. Though this is done in practice right now, it's just not properly stated in the code, so that's just to make sure that no one has any advantages and the codes aren't misinterpreted. I yield my time to questions.
The chairwoman yields her time to questions. Are there any questions? Seeing none, this legislation is now referred to the Judiciary Committee. Continuing on with the call of the new legislation, the clerk will now read.
SBL 117-155, sponsored by Chairperson Doppolito, a bill to clarify the election communication forms.
Chairwoman Doppolito, you're once again recognized.
This bill is not only to define all the election communication forms, but also change electronic communication to direct electronic communication, and then add a social media communication as an additional form. The bill closes any loopholes by treating all private targeted electronic outreach as the same, regardless of platform, and explaining a pre-existing relationship, and then also adding social media communication to draw a clear line between the different forms of those electronic communications. Previously, electronic communications was interpreted to cover social media, but now in modern times, it just doesn't really work out that way. I yield my time to questions.
The chairwoman yields her time to questions. Are there any questions? Seeing none, this legislation is now referred to the Judiciary Committee. Continuing on with the call of the new legislation, the clerk will now read.
SBL 117-156, sponsored by Senator Lewis, a recommendation to create policy for students to record and take photos of lecture material for academic purposes.
Senator Lewis, you are recognized.
Yeah, so basically this recommendation right here is asking the Office of the Provost to, set a clear guideline standard. We need a clear policy written. It needs to be produced. It needs to be something needs to be handed down, allowing students to record lectures and take photos of class materials for academic use only. And what I mean by this is that you have a professor, he or she in the class, teaching the classroom, and they're just running through slides. They're teaching, they're not slowing down. And you pull your phone out to take a picture of it, to take a picture of the slide and then put it down in your notebook or on your iPad, and they tell you you can't do that. Well, I believe that some professors may have really just overstepped their bounds when it comes to this rule sometimes. And so I believe that the Office of Provost with the student advisory need to get together, and they need to set a clear guideline and standard for this. I think that it's ridiculous that our students are facing, threatening emails, and they're facing, things from professors saying you can't record, you can't take pictures for academic purposes is just, is a not understanding to me. I think that the recommendation also allows the faculty, the professor or instructor, whoever it may be, to still have control of their classroom, but it'll be a clear standard they didn't need to follow. Obviously, the Office of Provost will have the final say in, what comes out of this, and, they're going to write it, they're going to develop however they want to see fit. They might not even want to do anything with this, honestly. But I think that the way some of the new state laws that have come up, there is more momentum right now for policies like this of giving control back to students when it comes to academic. And what I mean by that is that taking photos and videos is not, we are using for academic purposes only. So this is not something, we're trying to go out and create a money business online for a teacher's classroom. I can care what they put on the slide, but to help get grades up, studying materials and things like that, I think it needs to be very beneficial for our students and for our future students. And, we got to continue modernizing our policies to catch up with today's time. With that, I yield for questions.
Are there any questions? Seeing none, this legislation is now referred to the Academics Committee. Continuing on with the call of the new legislation, the clerk will now read.
SBL 117-157, sponsored by Senator Malka-Pupia, a recommendation to establish a full attendance requirement for student athletic reward points.
The senator is recognized.
Hi guys. So basically, this is a recommendation for the school and the athletic department to require at least 3/4 of attendance for a game. So it'll implement a scan-in, a check-in, or check-out system. As far as our research is concerned, for cockpit, basically you go in and you scan, and you'll get allocated points. There's also like a seniority point system, but this I guess will just enforce that better, I feel like. And then also it'll promote better student selection. You'll get more engagement. And that's how you might have it.
The senator yields his time to questions. Are there any questions? Seeing none, this piece is now referred to the Student Life Committee. Good job, first piece. Continuing on with the call of the introduction of new legislation, the clerk will now read.
SBL 117-158, sponsored by Speaker Pro Tempore Violette, a recommendation to establish a transportation engineering concentration for the BSE civil engineering curriculum.
Speaker Pro Tempore Violette, you are recognized.
Hello again, everyone. So this all stems from a conversation I had with a civil engineering student while at Leadership. You know, so she was explaining to me how this, institutions like Georgia Institute of Technology, University of Alabama, and Texas A&M all have environmental engineering concentrations, geotech, structural, or water sources engineering, and they also have a transportation engineering concentration in their VSE engineering, civil engineering curriculum. We don't, and that's a little interesting to me because we offer the other ones, just not this one. And so this is just to advocate for it. That I yield to questions.
The Speaker Pro Tempore yields his time to questions. Are there any questions? Senator Sheridan.
As far as from what she had told me, there are classes, but there is no concentration.
Any other questions? Seeing none, this legislation is now referred to the Academics Committee. Continuing on with the call of the new legislation, the clerk will now read.
SBL 117-159, sponsored by Senator Lemery, a recommendation to lower the price of garage parking at the University of South Carolina.
Are any representatives present? Senator D'Appolito. Yeah, just point of information to make sure you want to. Pieces by senators who are not still in the body can still pass. Like, they can't speak on it, but they can still pass. No, I'm just, like, pointing out. Sorry, you shook your head like you were saying I was wrong. I was like, no, I fear I'm not wrong. Yeah, okay. There's been a motion to table SBL 117-158 indefinitely. Is there a second? All those in favor say aye. All opposed? Okay. Are any representatives willing to speak? Speaker Pro Tempore Violette.
So I was a little eager on that one. My apologies. So, yes, I think there is a little bit of infeasibility with the current number. However, I do agree that this is something that will get Parking and Transportation's attention. I think it's a good starting point.
I think there's definitely some stuff to be said here. I think a lot of senators don't read bills, and that's okay. But this is definitely one that's worth reading. There's some important stuff in here, like the University of Texas at Austin, a year-long garage pass is $269 there. Yeah.
We yield to questions.
The senators yield their time to questions. Are there any questions? Senator Freer.
Unfortunately, we do not.
Chairwoman D'Appolito.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Senator Talaka. What was the question? Can you repeat that? Oh. This doesn't really answer your question, but just like a frame of reference, like think about like where the other schools are situated. Like we are kind of packed for space because we got built in the middle of a city before the city got big and before we got big versus like Clemson, like all up to them, but they're kind of on a farm, so they have a little bit more space than we do. Also, just another random fun fact I've learned in my time with parking transportation, it costs $45 million to build a parking garage. Any other questions? Yep.
I don't know the intricacies of this piece as well as the former Senator Marie. However, I do think it is a good statement.
Any other questions? Seeing not, oh, Senator George.
Theoretically, no. It would only, the only thing this bill asks to do is lower the price of parking. Theoretically, it still have the same limit. How many people do it?
Senator Copel.
There's already a really high want for parking passes. There are many people who want garage passes but can't get them because they just don't get them. not gonna help that, it's gonna help the front stuff. It's not a problem of overcrowding, because like garages already have a limit. I mean, if everyone could get Bull Street, they all would. But some people have to go to the athletics parking garage, just is what it is.
Chairperson Tobiak, a question or no? Okay. Any other questions? This is going to go to the Health and Safety Committee, so if you're in that committee, you'll get it. Senator Talaka. Okay. Seeing no further questions, this legislation is now referred to the Health and Safety Committee. Continuing on with the call of the introduction of the new Chairwoman Diapolito. Granted. Continuing on with the call of the introduction of new legislation, the clerk will now read.
SBL 117-160, sponsored by Senator Lewis, the recommendation to update the current logo, seal, and all official branding for the Student Senate.
Senator Lewis, you are recognized.
Yeah, this is a pretty straightforward recommendation right here as well. I'm asking, and also this recommendation is asking to update all Student Senate official branding, whatever it may be, the official brand, including all of that. So, right now, our current student seal and student logo is using all our official things. It's on our name tags, it's on our legislation, it's on emails, it's on memos. I mean, it's on a lot of things. And so, to keep up with modern trends, modernization, and also to keep up with the university branding guidelines and policy, I think we might have to refresh this. Now, before we went on break, I had, Emma, our advisor, I had briefly talked with her about this, and we had sent a couple designs off to the university communications team to see what they would think about and what they would do. They've made it clear, the university communication team made it clear that we have strict guidelines we have to follow. We can't use any low university things. It has to be, it's a policy, they have a policy and guidelines they want to follow. I think that, obviously we can't change anything without getting the Senate's, feedback or permission in this. And this is what this recommendation is doing. It is asking us to continue moving forward, to potentially update it and get the permission of the university communications team to do a final update and final redesign for this. Now, ideally, you may be thinking, well, if you get approved, what's next? Then the old seal and logo will come off and the new one be put on. I don't know. Yeah, and another thing is that someone had mentioned to me about a graphic designer. I don't really think we need a graphic designer, but if we do, then we will solicit the support of a graphic designer. The university has many graphic designers here. I was told the university communication team has quite a few in an office across the street by a coffee shop. So, we can utilize them. And yeah, with that, I yield my time to questions.
The senator yields his time to questions. Are there any questions? Chairperson Tobiak.
Well, we are budgeted for printing things anyway. We're not going to reprint all the old stuff. We're going to put this on the new stuff. But the solicitor graphic designer, you don't have to pay to utilize university staff. Not that I'm aware of.
Yeah, no, it costs money to pay people to do, if you hire a graphic designer, you have to pay them.
No, I'm not talking about hiring a graphic designer. I'm talking about the university communications team that me and Emma have talked with. They're having to prove this, and they have guidelines and designers that in their office.
Oh, if a graphic designer at USC would like. Okay.
That's what I'm not outside. I don't even know how that works. We're hiring an outside graphic designer. I was going by what I've told. We have inside staff that's already done this.
Senator Jacobson.
Can you, um, and yeah, I agree with that. The colors, they're not matched. They don't, the colors, current colors don't match university colors. That's one of the aspects, feedback we got. But I will also say is that I will be open to, I have a personal opinion I want to do, but what the other senators, what they think would want to do, obviously, this is not a one-man show, so I don't want to get up here and, toot my own horn, and put an opinion out there.
Senator Sanders.
I mean, there'd be plenty of room for, maybe student submissions. Obviously, I haven't, this is the recommendation. Obviously, if the recommendation passes, I guess we'll get with the advisors and see really what would the logistics be, But I think that's a cool idea of getting, the student body support to submit ideas because we've done it before.
Senator Talaka.
I've never said anything was wrong with the O design. I think that it's, again, the reason I want to change it is because for more modernization. And then again, if you look at the colors on there, they really don't match the other university colors. If you take a look at the student government logo, those are two different reds between our logo and the other one. And, I'm not sure where the green color comes in. And then it also we need to have consistency across all of our branding when it comes to student government. So if someone sees that, they can recognize student senate, student government, constitution council, whatever it may be.
Speaker Pro Tempore Violette.
I'm not sure we've had that logo. I'm not sure how long we've had that logo. 7 years. So I don't know the math on that, but.
Senator Jacobson.
I believe now that's a good question. For me, I personally looked elsewhere, but I believe there's a Digital 5 and the Digital Student Government Archives for somewhere, because I remember I asked Graham a question about was there other designs, and he did tell me there were other logo designs. So I'm waiting to see if we can get those other designs back to me to see what the historic trend was. But the current design, it's the background of it. It needs to be more transparent than it is right now. Just the simple tweaks like that.
I haven't, if you want to ask. Yep. Chairwoman Diapolito.
Yeah, that's a good question. I asked them, and I sent an email to them. I asked them what would it be, and they was, it had to come to a Senate. Senate had to make the decision before we did anything. And according to the codes and constitution, the recommendations would be this is what we have to do to handle Senate business. We don't have another way to handle Senate business.
Any other questions? Seeing none, this legislation is now referred to, is now referred to the Powers and Responsibilities Committee and the Student Life Committee, my apologies. Continuing on with the call of the new legislation, the clerk will now read.
SBL 117-161, sponsored by Speaker Pro Tempore Violette, Senator Hunter, Senator Jacobson, a resolution to establish an ad hoc committee to research and propose revitalization to the role of student body treasurer.
The senators are recognized.
Hello again, everybody. So I'm going to start with a little backstory to this. Back in 2020, during the rampantness of COVID-19, the 112 student senate who were specifically in finance committee who were not really doing anything because boards weren't requesting money. They believed that the treasurer's role was kind of moot and didn't exist, so they shrunk it down to the position of Secretary of Finance. The Secretary of Finance for 2 years They had removed it from the Constitution, moved it all into the codes, swished it down, and put it under the president's cabinet. 2 years later, in, I believe, during the 2023 election cycle, the 114th Finance Chair, Hannah Augsbach Lama, decided to bring it back, taking it from the codes, expanding it out as best as she could, and put it back in the Constitution. That gap has caused a little bit of problems, and I know I've talked to Ashley, unfortunately she's not here, about potentially looking through our historical codes before the 112th and seeing what has changed and what could be improved upon, as well as looking at some stuff within the SEC to continue.
Obviously, not completely unrelated to the attempt at an amendment we did the other day. And of course, that would have to be brought back up in a certain separate way. But this is just to create an ad hoc committee to look at this issue and figure out any sort of solution to come up with that would be agreeable to everyone.
The biggest thing I'd have to say with this is after working,
Apparently I'm talking too loud for this thing. Too powerful for it, that's what it is. But
no, all it is after working with Ashley for the past year, the role she is in a phenomenal opportunity to not only learn more about our student government, but also to learn more about what it means to be in a financial analyst role. But that shouldn't just be it. This should do two different things, both learn the politics side while also learning about the financial analyst that it does to run the treasurer of an amazing university like we have. So all this would do, like my fellow senators have said, just to create the committee to look at what the treasurer role used to be, just to see what it's like, dive into our history books to see where it came from, to see if we can find anything that can be useful for nowadays. So I really support this, and especially me being up on the podium for the first time, I really want this to go through. I feel pleased to put my name on this, to say the least.
I would also like to add, this, with the previous attempted amendment, there was a clear conversation that happened in Finance Committee, and it would be a lot to ask to have anyone who is interested in specifically that bill join Finance Committee, because it's very time-consuming sort of commitment to join that. So it makes it a little easier for people who want to get in on that conversation to join a separate committee exclusively targeted at that, rather than having to join.
thank you to these two much better orators than I am. To add, we had 5, 6, 7 years ago now, and I've spoken to some of these previous treasurers as well. There was a lot more respect and, I don't want to say admiration for the role compared to there is now, but I do think that there is something to be said when I go amongst many of you right now and I ask, what is the most underappreciated role that we have right now? And many of you will say, the treasurer, either the treasurer or one of her many comptrollers. I think it is very important that we take a deep dive into the history of this role and look towards the SEC. With that, we yield to questions.
The senators yield their time to questions. Are there any questions? Senator Spurgeon.
Well, I think the comment I made about not having to join Finance Committee to talk about it, because it was turned down this other committee worked on, it seemed like it would be worthwhile, since obviously only a certain portion of us could bring that back up, to have both sides of the voices of expanding or looking at other things because of the role. It seems like a worthwhile conversation to have, and it's a better opportunity than we did.
I think you're absolutely right, Tommy. This could be a bill. It could. However, the last time that we tried to do a bill, no one, to my knowledge, no one fully understood why. I think there's an amazing opportunity for many of you to actually understand the role of student body president, as well as be able to make some valuable changes to this role for the future.
Senator Spurgeon.
they can speak to, like, this is going to have a fixed time, but if they want to meet just with one of the three of us, they're open to it, or with Ashley. We're all trying to do this as a team, as best as we can with the time constraints that are given. But yes, there will be times that people will want to meet outside of the ad hoc, and we'll talk.
Any other questions? Seeing none, this legislation is now referred to the Finance Committee. Continuing on with the call of the new legislation, the clerk will now read.
SBO 117-164, sponsored by the Finance Committee, a recommendation to permit the Finance Committee to allocate funds.
Is there a representative present? Chairman Spurgeon.
All right, guys, this is just the normal weekly finance bill from the meeting on December 5th. 4 orgs requested money, $9,500 approved, some change. No other noteworthy things on this bill. I yield the questions.
The senator yields his time to questions. Are there any questions? Senator Jacobson. There's been a motion to pass SBL 117-164 by unanimous consent. Seeing no objections, this legislation is now adopted. First piece in the news. Continuing on with the call of the introduction of new legislation, the clerk will now read.
SBO 117-165, sponsored by Speaker Pro Tempore Violette, a bill to define what an undergraduate organization is.
Speaker Pro Tempore Violette, you're recognized.
It's very simple. It just adds the definition for undergraduate student org into our appendix in the student government code. With that, I yield the question.
The Speaker Pro Tempore yields his time to questions. Are there any questions? Seeing none, this legislation is now referred to the Student Life and Finance Committees. Continuing on with the call of the new legislation, the clerk will now read. Hearing none, that completes the call of the new legislation. We are now on the call of the uncontested calendar. The clerk will now read.
SBO 117-148, sponsored by Senator Lewis, a resolution to congratulate the 2025 homecoming kings and dukes.
Senator Lewis, you're recognized.
Yeah. Basically, this is a resolution to recognize our 2025 homecoming king and queen. With the resolution, the state level doesn't, they all give out resolutions like congratulations. So I think it's a great thing to do, just like congratulations. I didn't think but yeah. With that, I yield my time for questions.
The senator yields his time to questions. Are there any questions? Senator George. There's been a motion to pass SBL 117-148 by unanimous consent. Seeing no objections, this legislation is now adopted. Is there a motion to carry over SBL 117-151? This is because Liberties and Representation didn't meet, so they were unable to review. Is there a second? All those in favor say aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. SBL 117-51 is carried over for a period of 1 week. Speaker Pro Tempore Violette. There's been a motion to table SBL 117-31 indefinitely. Is there a second? All those in favor say aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. The piece is tabled indefinitely. Continuing on with the uncontested legislation, the clerk will now read.
SBO 117-151,
Hearing none, that completes the call of the uncontested legislation. We are now on the call of the contested legislation. The clerk will now read.
SBO,
we just table that also. Hearing none, that completes the call of the contested legislation. We are now in line for a period of open discussion. Does any senator wish to bring a matter of attention to the body? Also, Judiciary Committee is one person short from quorum, so somebody will have to join before we adjourn tonight. Chairwoman Diapolito.
I've got a couple things. Speaking of judiciary being one person away from quorum, we have a new time officially, 3 o'clock on Thursdays, if you can make that. I do also know that Brooke is in judiciary, but she's unable to do Thursdays. So next week we'll also have one person. So if you want to kill two birds with one stone and more than 2 people or more want to join, that'd be awesome. Also, the first round of code edits from Dr. Goodman Chapter 4 will be coming next week. Judiciary is going to start looking over it tomorrow. We have some stuff drafted already. But I do encourage everyone to read Chapter 4 when they get a chance, just so we get that unlocked. Speaking of, for SBL 117, 159, if you agree with the idea of it, that is awesome, but it would be really helpful if an amendment comes from it, just because the legislation could be backed up by a lot more research and stuff like that, and we want to be putting through quality pieces. So that's why I offered to table it so that it could be rewritten. But hopefully it gets amended, because I'm not sure if everyone read it or just heard the idea, but there was only 5 people on the piece of legislation on the drive. So just wanted to make sure everyone is making sure we have some good quality pieces out there. I yield my time to questions.
The chairwoman yields her time to questions. Are there any questions? Seeing none, thank you. Are there any other things for open discussion? Senator Sheridan.
Hey, also, I'm the new Student Life Chairman, and with that, I plan to keep my meeting time on Monday at 6 p.m. But with that being said, we're pretty close to not meeting quorum, and so if someone doesn't show up, then I want to be able to pass stuff. So with that, if you really do want to join Student Life, please email me at some point in the next couple of days. Let me know another time that you may be available. I could do 6 p.m. Probably on Tuesdays as well as Thursdays, but just let me know as well, and we can work something out. But if not, I'd love if y'all could join Student Life Mondays at 6 p.m. I yield my time to questions.
The senator yields his time to questions. Are there any questions? Seeing none, thank you. Any other matters of open discussion? Seeing none, just a reminder, until somebody joins judiciary, we do truly have to just Speaker Pro Tempore Violette. Yeah, you're recommended.
I think to add on to that too is that y'all are also going to need some new vice chairs, so some incentive. I know judiciary will need one, and student life and powers and finance, yes. So that should a little incentive if y'all are interested in taking on a Senate leadership type role. Another thing, delegation chairs. If you're interested, my phone number's in the master sheet. You can email me. All I ask is hold off on delegation changes, because I really need to figure out delegation chairs first. With that, I yield to the well.
Yeah, you just yielded. No. Any other things for period of discussion? Okay, we will now move to a period of announcements, but we're not going to adjourn until somebody can join judiciary. Any announcements? Senator Whatley. There's been a motion to add Senator Whatley to the Judiciary Committee. Is there a second? Without objection, so ordered. Any announcements from the floor? Okay. Seeing none, just my quick one. Don't forget, we're completely on OneDrive right now, so if something's not up to date on the Google Drive, please don't get mad at me, because I'm not in charge of that anymore, and we're only using OneDrive. If you can't find anything, just text me, but I promise it's all on there. Is there a motion to adjourn? Is there a second? Without objection, so ordered. We will now stand adjourned until Wednesday, January 21st, 2026.